The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm back. It is September 9th. I had a little bit of hiatus there for a week or so, and it may continue, but I'm back. A few headlines today for September 9th. Coming up in just a couple minutes. So, sorry I had to leave the podcast for the past week. I was out of town putting out fires, and I was on vacation for a week, and then I came back and I had to put out all these fires. I wasn't home, so excuse the hiatus. So we're gonna get into the news this morning. First up, the Supreme Court of the United States, again, ruled with the executive that Donald Trump can legally send federal law enforcement, to conduct immigration operations and stops, even though it appears that some U.S. residents were swept up. They were not detained. They're not set for deportation. That really hasn't happened. So I think we should break into the news for today, September 9th. Like I said, I'm going to be off a few more days this week, and I should be back to full schedule by next week. Let's hope that happens. Terrible kind of set of events right when I got back from vacation, and I was away for a week for vacation, and then I came back. I had an episode, and then I had to get back out of town and handle these crises. All right, so let's get into the news for today, September 9th. It's Tuesday. All right, first up, we're going to deal with the breaking headlines today, which is that SCOTUS ICE ruling is the latest embarrassment for rogue lower courts. A little rusty start here. So the lower district courts are they're actually in cahoots with these liberal Democratic law firms who are bringing these suits, suing the Trump administration or the federal government for doing their duty, enforcing federal law. It doesn't matter if the states don't want it. I mean, that's basically what launched the Civil War in the United States, was states didn't want to do what the federal government wanted the states to do, or wanted to assist in the federal system. So the Federalist has this headline: SCOTUS ICE ruling is the latest embarrassment for lower rogue courts, because we know what the Constitution is. It's not even really the makeup so much of the Supreme Court, because Coney Barrett keeps siding with the liberals. So we see the way that's worked out. Still, we do have conservatives on the Supreme Court. AP has this headline: Supreme Court lifts restrictions on LA immigration stops set after agents swept up U.S. citizens. Swept up, as I mentioned before, means detained briefly. If you're an American citizen and there's no proof that you're an American citizen, and you're swept up with a bunch of other admitted illegal aliens, you could be swept up, but you can't be detained, and you certainly wouldn't be deported. The only people that have been deported that are technically American citizens is children of illegal immigrants that are being deported. So next headline up from USA Today: Trump administration launches Chicago immigration crackdown operation Midway Blitz. If you didn't know what this was, this has been all over the news because we saw J.B. Pritzker and others, Mayor Brandon in Chicago, pontificating, spreading their political rhetoric about resisting the federal government, Trump administration, it is the federal government, with conducting what is under the purview of federal law enforcement, which is immigration enforcement. So with the Border Patrol and with ICE and deporting folks. So all legal. The SCOTUS obviously sided in the Los Angeles case. I'm sure there are going to be more lawfare cases against the administration from Chicago. We'll see how this plans out. They were hoping that it would be more or less of a hot summer with the immigration crackdown, but that hasn't happened. So we're at the end of the summer now. You're hoping in Chicago this last month of summer, or last couple of weeks of summer, that something will kick off there. So I imagine that Homan and Trump are going to tread very lightly in Chicago because of all the media attention. Another headline in the Trump administration portfolio, certainly, is from Just the News. Trump throws support behind bipartisan effort to ban stock trading for elected officials. So Congress, Senate, I believe the bill refers to all, but they can only really have jurisdiction over federal employees. So, but the big news also today here is that Bill Clinton's letter in Epstein birthday book among new files released by House Oversight Committee, the infamous birthday book, is among the files released by the House Oversight Committee. So the little things they seeded in the haystack there of Trump that may or may not be accurate, it really doesn't matter, but they're propagandizing that part. I don't think it's actual. Who knows? I don't think it's actual because I think the Democrats actually telegraphed that they had something secretive in there and that within the FBI files that were left for Kash Patel, it appears that these had been slipped in. But we'll leave it out there for the time being. But the point here is that Bill Clinton is the one that they're trying to protect. Post-millennial, White House, J.D. Vance slam Wall Street Journal over publication of Trump Epstein birthday letter. No one has fallen for this BS. As I have said all along, it's very clear President Trump did not draw this picture, nor did he sign it. So I was under the firm belief that it seemed like they were about to release some fake evidence of Trump in the Epstein file, and then this Wall Street Journal report came right out. So it seems like it was stuck in there. At the very least, the mainstream media knew, or the Wall Street Journal knew, whoever was getting the exclusive, knew that this was going to be in the trove, but I think it was inserted. Also from the Associated Press, Trump note to Epstein that he denies writing is released by Congress. I mean, this is the Associated Press, of course. I don't know. If you look at it, it's supposed to be like a little bit of a birthday card, whether he wrote it or one of his staff wrote it, whether that's signature, whether that's him in there. It really doesn't matter, even if it was him, but I don't think it is. I think that's the best that they could come up with. I don't think it's very accurate. I don't think it's truthful. It just seems, in any case, however it was handled, the information was handled, whether it was inserted or not, was done, obviously, in a politically biased way. So let's get to this New York stabbing ordeal. So the New York Post has the article today. A madman charged with killing Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska was free on cashless bail despite years of violence and mental illness. You've probably seen this on the news, this story that happened and the situation surrounding this other, homeless, insane person. This guy had schizophrenia, whatever, but My point is, it just seemed like made for TV. So I'm not believing that didn't happen, but homeless people can be mind controlled just like anybody else. And they can even be paid or influenced to do certain things if they think they might get famous because they have nothing to lose, right? So, but it seems made for TV, made for narrative. My skepticism here lies because I think this is to suck up right-wing news cycles to stay away from Bill Clinton. Who knows? But if you look at the articles here, here's the Free Press. A woman was stabbed to death on train. Wikipedia wants to erase her story. So it seems like made for TV propaganda piece that benefits conservatives. The murder apparently did happen. It just seems the wherewithal, the information surrounding where and how this took place was very strange, but could very well be just another random insane person attacking. And insane people usually like to use knives, and this isn't much different than any sort of subway platform pusher that has been out there. So an insane person riding the subway strikes out violently for no reason. It's happened. But there were a couple instances that happened in DC where it was the targets were very strange, and then it just seemed like a person popped out of an alleyway, like ready. And I think it was a congressional staffer of a prominent Republican. I'm not sure. But that's what raised my skepticism over these events, that you just have homeless people jumping out, committing stabbing in very peculiar ways that were almost, it seems like, made up for the news cycle. So PJ Media has the headline, Axios blames surveillance cameras, MAGA influencers for outrage over brutal murder of Ukrainian refugee by career criminal in North Carolina train. Stabbing video fuels MAGA's crime message. Now, I'm not saying that it's even beyond Trump or anybody else in politics to arrange for viral moments to happen. Remember when Trump was getting elected the first time and he was stumping about immigration? That San Francisco pier stabbing happened in broad daylight of a blonde, white, young woman that was out for a walk on the pier with her dad by an illegal immigrant. And it just seemed contrived for news. So I'm not even saying that Trump can be beyond this sort of thing, but it seems like this is contrived. If you saw the video, the guy just sitting there, sees her, is sitting like this, and does one of these. And if she gets on in the same train and sits in the same seat after coming home from work each time, this could easily be planned out. So that's my conspiracy for that. But truthfully, PJ Media is reporting that BLMers launch GoFundMe for subway stabber. Charlotte mayor urges video censorship. So the GoFundMe has been taken down, thank God. This soft on crime policy, though, however legitimate it is the point. So whether it's blown up through crises in the media or it's not, you can't let people with long rap sheets and are obviously a danger to society keep, letting them back out on the street even after minor crimes, because it's broken windows. If you don't police minor crime, more violent crime will happen. So this guy shouldn't be on the street, especially if he had problems with mental illness. What happens to him then? I say start building prisons with mental wards in there for mentally ill criminals. Just the News has this headline. Many people have known about this story already, so it's kind of like a rehash. But ex-FBI agent who leaked to Chinese company had his hands in a wide range of notable investigations. So this is Charles McGonigal. And so he was not only spying for the Chinese, but it seems like he was sort of an agent, provocateur, a double agent, or a double mole, or whatever they call him. McGonigal, who served as a section chief for the Cyber Counterintelligence Coordination section of the FBI headquarters, was also working in cahoots with the communists. McGonigal had recently revealed to leak information of person B, believed to be businessman Dorian Duca. Now I have this is where McGonigal led Chinese mole hunt, would later become a mole for the Chinese. This over here. So he was a double, triple agent sort of deal. Also in the news, New York Post, drone strikes Greta Thunberg-led Gaza flotilla in Tunisian port, organizers say. So we don't know if this is true or not, but they have pictures of surveillance pictures showing the strike. It's probably done by the Israelis. I doubt very much it would be done by the CIA, but you never know. Excuse me. I just got to switch around a couple things here. Next story up here is about Javier Milei, the president of Argentina. And the AP has the headline, Argentina President Milei suffers crushing defeat in Buenos Aires provincial election. And so his party, which was newly formed, to be fair, got just 34% of the seats in the Buenos Aires district, while, of course, the socialists, because Buenos Aires is the big city in Argentina, the socialists got 47%. So that's still pretty major, but they're trying to sell it right after this Wall Street Journal opinion piece. Milei's experiment may be losing steam. Argentines Peronists won't stop fighting the outsider president's pro-market agenda. So they're talking about Javier Milei there. Because there are people against what he's doing there with the market reforms. But as far as the stability of the currency and the markets in Argentina themselves, doing very well. But the people that are used to getting leftist handouts are complaining still. So, but this opinion piece by Mary Anastasia O'Grady talks about that his populism, this libertarian economist, conservative populism, is losing steam. So it's the communists in the media again trying to say, oh, look, here's the biggest urban district in Argentina. This spells the fate for Javier Milei. I don't think it will. If they want to go back to their communist ways, they're free to do so. But that's where they got runaway inflation, 100% or more. And I'm going to close out here with Issue and Insights. And their article about another crack appears in the global warming narrative. And of course, it talks about Al Gore with his movie and all the there'll be no more icebergs by 2013, et cetera, et cetera. But there's some truth coming out here. 90% of suitable locations researchers looked at showed no statistical significance acceleration of the rate of sea level rise. So the sea level rising story, because people had talked about Obama buying, a beachfront property in Martha's Vineyard that supposedly is going to be under water, but it suggests that local and non-climatic phenomena are plausible cause of accelerated sea level rise observed at the remaining 5% of suitable locations. So on average, the rate of rise projected by the IPCC is biased upwardly with approximately 2 millimeters per year in comparison with the observed rate. So they were exaggerating, of course, and when they were measuring the seas for the global warming hoax, climate gate, that's what they were doing. They're just exaggerating what was happening there. The majority of local causes of rapid sea level rise or drop appear to be geologic. Tectonic motion explains sudden changes of sea level rise in more instances and in few places, but most gradual but rapid rise and fall of sea level is mostly caused by glacial isostatic adjustment and in a few isolated cases by an excessive sediment load. So no, this whole thing about, there's natural erosion and stuff like that. So, and the glaciers do melt. But the idea that climate change is actually, a serious thing to consider in this generation or generations to come, like the world is going to end in 10 years for certain. It could be hundreds. And if the climate change is naturally driven by some other sort of phenomena, it would still occur, but at a much slower rate, as we know, how cosmic changes and interplanetary changes or solar changes, how long that takes to, whether it's a mini ice age or a warming period, how long that takes to transpire. All right, again, I'm sorry about what's happened recently with the lack of episodes. So if you're back, welcome back. This is a special report, so there's not going to be any more episodes maybe this week. Like I said, I'm traveling, putting out fire, so back on the road tomorrow, and maybe for the rest of the week, and then hoping for next week going back to my regular scheduled podcasts. Still a little rusty today and super, super tired. I never, ever do this much traveling. Even though a lot of it's by car, it wears on you. And I've been up late and doing a lot of physical stuff as well. So burning the candle at both ends, burning the midnight oil, all that stuff. So thanks for joining me today. Appreciate it. So those are a few headlines. Look out for an episode next week. Peace out. Respect.
You can't handle the truth!